Look at me, Chief. This is my show now.
You know, there was a time 20 years ago or so when the idea of a cable network Halo show sounded like cinematic gold, and people probably would have lined up by the millions to watch that. Halo was all the rage with gamers. It was the new king of console shooting, the next step on from Doom, Quake, Unreal, and GoldenEye. It had everything. A masked and armored super soldier tasked with rescuing humanity, a vile and fanatic enemy hell-bent on eradicating said humanity for having the audacity to exist. Halo had cool worlds to visit. It had Cortana, and one of the best on-screen partnerships since Riggs and Murtaugh. In the years since, Halo spawned a stack of novels, animated films and shows, bazillions of fan projects, board games, comics, lunchboxes, other merch, series spin-offs, and at the center of it all was John 117, the Master Chief himself. So when the new show came through on Paramount Plus, it got me thinking, who is this show for? Fuck it, I'll upgrade the question. Did anybody at Paramount Plus think this shit through at all? I'm 4 episodes into this mess, and holy hell, this show comes off like the showrunners and writers ate a bunch of paint chips, drank a biker's bar, piss trough worth of grain alcohol, and then bare knuckle boxed for 12 rounds before sitting down to work. But before I get into their bullshit, I want to talk to the executives face to face that greenlit this mess. You'd have thought, I'd have thought, somebody should have thought, to maybe consult the guys down in research and development before getting the show off the ground. You clowns took an IP made famous and popular by a worldwide legion of gamers, an overwhelming percentage of whom who were teenage boys and now grown up, and delivered a show more suited for daytime television. Halo at its core is wish fulfillment. The faceless hero gives his all to do the right thing no matter the personal cost. It's a soldier who battles a hopelessly formidable enemy against the odds to the last breath. It's being able to get yourself into the game and taking on that role that anybody can be the Master Chief under the mask. You know what Halo's not? Halo's not a particularly complex story of self-discovery where repressed traumas are dredged up and confronted at the expense of pacing in the established lore. Who did they think would enjoy this? Rule number 1 when it comes to publication and sales is to thoroughly know your target audience, to get at their likes and dislikes, to understand their expectations, tastes, and preferences, to respect their time, energy, and money spent. This series exhibits a fatal lack of all the above. 2 decades worth of lore painstakingly assembled and proven successful by literal billions of dollars in revenue, have been shunted in favor of a brand new storyline featuring a character completely unknown to us, embarking on a mission that's objectively ridiculous within the scope of the show itself. And when we finally do get to Master Chief, in name only, what do we get? I'll tell you what we get. We get 4 episodes of a helmetless Master Chief staring off into space, staring at monitors, staring at a keystone, staring off into nothing. Outside of the first Spartan appearance scene in episode 1, the Master Chief engages through 4 episodes in no additional combat. Hell, he doesn't draw a weapon, throw a punch, or do anything remotely compelling. The writers have stripped this character down into oblivion. First his helmet, then his armor, and then his dignity. He's had 0 interaction with the Covenant since that opening sequence, and little reason to believe any's coming anytime soon, guys. But while you're chewing all of this dry, flavorless nothing burger smashed between 2 slabs of moldy bread, you're stuck pairing it with a side of nobody asked for it in the form of a tired must avenge my father subplot. Hey, Jesus Christ, Quan, your colony just got smoked live and in living color by what you thought was a USNC boogeyman story, and you saw it firsthand. You've got bigger fish to fry than worrying about getting back to Madrigal and fighting the revolution against the USNC. But hold on to your pulse rifles and plasma swords, girls and grunts. There's more. We find out Quan's dad might have had more to him than Quan knew about in the first place. Shocking. Any bets this story thread goes nowhere at the expense of the Master Chief storyline? I'd take that bet. On the other hand, another possibility going forward is that Quan's dearly departed dad stumbled across the location of yet another Forerunner artifact hidden in the desert on Madrigal, and that the assassin currently on Quan's tail will track her to it, kill Soren, and discover Quan's the key to using the artifact. Either way, there's not nearly enough MC in this show. There's not enough Spartan for that matter either. And when we do get to see the Spartans, you guessed it, it's yet another story of somebody exploring their feelings and dragging the pace of a show based on an FPS game down slower than an indie film about watching paint dry. Did I mention also the Covenant are glaringly absent as well? Outside of a single flickering frame, they're not in episode 4 for it all, save for the human girl who shouldn't have been with them in the first place. But don't worry, she'll probably show up on Madrigal and be the key to that artifact too. My final score through halftime for this show of 4 episodes is 1 wasted legendary character, 2 wasted original characters in Quan and McKee, a lack of anything Halo outside of episode 1's first Spartan sequence in Cortana, and 1 meandering go nowhere story featuring a bunch of nobodies. And you know what? All of this could have been avoided. It all could have been avoided, and it would have been simple. Here's how they could have fixed it. First, instead of starting the whole world at a point at which only the USNC apparently knows the Covenant is real and has engaged them already, you gotta start with things being already dire. The Covenant should have already been on the assault. We should have seen images of glassed worlds and smoking ruins of human cities just to kick things off. The human navy should have been on the run already. Maybe resources and supplies are dwindling. Anything but just starting at a place where not everybody's on the same page that there's a threat out there. It lent way too much opportunity to them having to follow through on those characters' storylines and not giving Halo fans anything remotely Halo to follow. And that's just for starter. The next thing they should have done was kept the damn Master Chief in character and not have him act as some discount Mr. Data from Star Trek Next Generation in search of his emotions. What the Chief needed here was a mission with ultra high stakes to blast through. Maybe something that involved his former team being ordered to hunt him down on if he decided he had to go rogue to spice the story stakes up. But however you sliced it, it needed more shooty and less pouty. The second thing I would have done, and it's only because I'm willing to offer an olive branch and a concession on this one, is that if you really wanted to launch a series like this and include 2 brand new non-Spartan, non-traditionally Halo characters, you needed to make them more interesting and believable. Now, I know including a human agent with the Covenant is widely considered sacrilege, but since they've wisely marked the show as sort of an alternate timeline, I'm gonna let it slide on this McKee. McKee is an interesting idea in theory, but they've done fuck all with her in 4 episodes besides set her on a collision course with our air quote heroes. The writers filled in her backstory a little bit and that was good, but while the setup was interesting, the payoff is just another chosen one trope. And if you think about it, it shouldn't work. Why would a human be capable of operating Forerunner tech at all? And if they could, how does it make any sense at all for the Covenant to want to exterminate humanity on sight instead of just capturing them all and testing them for this unique ability? McKee could have been more active through the first 4 episodes. She could have been given more screen time to develop her hatred for humanity, or given a shot to display some kind of specialized skill or knowledge that actually makes her valuable to the Covenant. As it is, we've just seen them give her kind of a revered status with no explanation at all, other than they picked her up as a child after detecting with the magic wand thingy that they had. After that, they set her on a basic fetch quest, and that's just not enough. She's a wholly unique character in this world. Build on that. Is she an elite assassin? Does she have some psionic abilities the Covenant have imbued her with? Was she abandoned to the slave camp planet by some USNC officer parent who was ashamed of her for whatever reason? They had fundamentals that they could have utilized and they just put her on the shelf. We could upgrade Quan in a similar way. We see her as a shroom-seeking teen who all of a sudden wants to fight her father's rebellion after he dies. We've seen no evidence that she's capable of fighting in any way. She's in no way skilled that we've seen so far. Well, maybe we can fix that. Maybe she's a dutiful and down for the cause daughter whom we first see hot wiring a truck or pulling off a supply heist from some USNC convoy. She could be charismatic, intelligent, and obviously loathe the USNC for what they've done to her homeworld. And when the Covenant first attack, maybe she gets gravely wounded and rescued by Master Chief and his guys, forcing her into a grudging alliance down the line. And my final fix is an overhaul of the stupid. What do I mean with the stupid? I mean, stop including things that make 0 sense. Think things through. Stop having phony moral dilemma. Like, the USNC is opposed to cloning, but doesn't have a problem with executing teenage daughters of dissidents that are unarmed and non-threatening. Seems a bit sketch. Stop having alleged adults and experts do and say the dumbest shit imaginable. Noteworthy from episode 3 is the ship's captain that fell into an obvious trap, let the Covenant craft board his ship, and then do nothing about keeping it safe when the shit hits the fan. Like, who is that guy? Why wasn't he on the damn bridge? Why didn't he decompress the damn airlock the minute the first sign of trouble showed up? And then you have Halsey's daughter, a so-called xenolinguistic expert who never considered interviewing people with battlefield experience in the language she's actually studying. How is she the head of that department? That doesn't make any sense at all. Then you got holograms, Cortana I mean, appearing and being seen where no hologram could be. How is it that Cortana appears anywhere except off of the Master Chief's wrist pad from the game? How is it that she appeared in his house in episode 4 when they were doing the walkthrough looking for the artifact? She's just there on the ground in the middle of an abandoned house, in the middle of the woods, in a forbidden plant. How? What made that possible? Doesn't make any sense. She's not just visible in John's HUD. She's not visible off some monitor that the team brought along with her so she could take part. Like, she's just walking around with that. Stupid. Pointless. My favorite one. Procedures being conducted without Cortana's assistance, when an episode prior it would have been impossible. That was the dumbest moment in episode 3 top to bottom. That the Cortana had to show up and assist bare-ass Master Chief in removing the pellet from his spine, with the implication being that, if he cut too deep or if he cut the wrong place, he'd wind up paralyzed. Come episode 4, the other Spartan chick, whose name I can't be bothered to remember, Kai or something, like, she's standing in the mirror, noticeably not bare-ass, because I guess Paramount's got a thing against the female form, but has no problem showing 2 male bare-ass actors. That's cool though. So female Spartan lines up to do the same procedure, but she has no Cortana. She had no physician's assistant, no nurse, no doctor there. She just, hacked into her spine, and the minute the pellet came out, she decided it was time to go get the makeover done and dye her hair. Like, who is this show for? Like, this doesn't add up to anything quality on any level. This isn't even CW level quality. This is somewhere bad. Somewhere I don't want to go anymore with this show. It's getting really tough to watch, and this is just a taste, guys. And it's too bad. They had it right there for the taking. A fascinating, compelling story world, a timeless hero, a terrifying, relentless enemy, a threat to all existence. It was right there, and they blew it. That's all I got on this one, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Smash the like button, leave a couple of comments. Maybe I'm off base on my read on this show, but I really think the show's going nowhere. None of it makes sense. If you're a Halo fan, you enjoy it, tell me why. If you're just a normie fan coming through for a new show to watch and enjoy it, let me know why. Let me know where I'm going wrong. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one, guys.